Welcome back to our Fox Sports 2022 USFL coaching series, and we continue with Pittsburgh Maulers head coach Kirby Wilson, who is getting his first opportunity to be a professional head coach after nearly 40 years as a coach and having retired in July 2021 after a stint with the Las Vegas Raiders as running backs coach. I speak with him about why the USFL was such a great opportunity for him that it got him out of retirement. I talked with him a bit about how he has coached players like Curtis Martin and Emmitt Smith and Edgerrin James, and even one of my favorites, Josh Jacobs, 2 great seasons as a running backs coach. And we get into which of his 2 Super Bowls is his favorite. All right, let's talk to Coach Wilson. Welcome back to our Fox Sports 2022 USFL coaching series, and I'm joined today by Pittsburgh Maulers head coach Kirby Wilson. Coach, how you doing?
Doing just lovely, RJ. Thanks for having me.
Nah, Coach, I'm excited about this. I got to spend a lot of time with you at the draft, in particular on day 2. You and your general manager, Chris Watt, were kind enough to just let me have a bird's eye view just right up underneath you as you were making selections. I need to ask, though, Coach, from the jump, like, how do you feel about your team? Because Daryl Johnson, executive vice president, football operations, was thrilled with how you went through day 1 and day 2. And then I noticed you took what I thought were the 2 best specialists in this draft off the board in the supplemental draft in Ramit Ahmed, excuse me, if I say that incorrectly, correct me. And of course, Max Duffy, who I know as a unanimous All-American at Kentucky.
Right. We were extremely excited and thrilled to add those 2 in particular. They both have an outstanding track record of success and being around other successful punters, long snappers, special teams contributions. And we just thought they were the 2 best guys at their positions. We were fortunate and lucky to get those 2. And we think we're going to see some great things out of them coming up this season.
Well, Coach, one of the things that I was most enthusiastic about in getting to know you and learning that you were one of the coaches in this league is this is your first opportunity to be a head coach. And you and I have talked about this before, but I wonder if you would tell us once again why the USFL was the best spot for you to really be a head coach.
Well, that's a great question. I had retired officially in July of 2022, but that was a box that had never been checked, obviously, in my career and on my resume.
21, July 2021.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
21 retirement. But that was a box that I had never had been able to check. Nobody's fault, no reason. It's timing. Sometimes it's just it's God's plan. So when those opportunities were just starting, when the league was just starting, I reached out to some key people who I knew would be involved and said I might be interested. And then a year later, when the opportunity presented itself, I told Brian Woods and Daryl Johnston there was no way, RJ, I was going to turn down this opportunity, regardless of what hoops I had to jump through regarding my retirement status. I just thought it was too good of an opportunity to pass up, to run an organization, to lead men, to build a football team the way you think and believe that it ought to be done. And it was just staring me right in the face. And to be honest, at the end of the day, when I kept going back and forth, do I really want to do this? I just retired, more time with my children, more time with my family and my loved ones. I just decided it was bigger than me. It was an opportunity not only to be a first-time head coach, but an opportunity to hire and give other qualified assistants opportunities to either start a career, reignite their career, or to prolong their career. So it was bigger than me at the end of the day, and I'm glad I did it. I haven't looked back since I accepted it.
One of the things that I've been really just geeking out about is how many of you coaches know each other or have crossed paths before. And it was quite a thrill for me to see New Jersey Generals coach Mike Riley popping into your draft room to tease you and razz you about taking some San Jose State guys that he might have had his eye on, but you also let me know that Coach Riley was your first coach. I wonder what you glean from that relationship. And it seemed like shortly after you first met Coach Riley, you yourself went into coaching. Do I have that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Mike Riley was a strong early mentor in not only my playing career, but my coaching career in terms of what I wanted to do down the road. From a very early on in my life as a child, I knew I wanted to be involved with sports, whether it be playing and or teaching and coaching. So I was already on that path. I just had no clue how to do it. And Mike was very instrumental in pointing out key things that has to take place in order for that to happen. And at the same time, strong, positive mentor who encouraged, who always led, and he did it in a very positive manner and way that allowed the best to come out in me.
Well, Coach, let's take it back to your NFL days for a little bit, in particular with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm interested, what did you learn from a coach like Mike Tomlin and other coaches on that staff?
Wow. One of the greatest coaching staffs I've ever been around, from top to bottom. And it was led by Coach Tomlin, tremendous head coach, tremendous competitor. But the number one thing I took from Coach Tomlin was consistency. He's the same. He's never too high. He's never too low. He's the same. I took that from him, and I've kind of ran with it because that's something that players strive to be, is consistent. And what is consistency? It's doing something right the same way every time. And I really took that from Coach Tomlin. There were some great coaches on that staff: Bruce Arians, John Mitchell, Ray Horton, Dick LeBeau, just excellent coaches. Sean Kugler. I'm a thief, RJ. I'm gonna be straight honest with you as a coach. I'm a thief. I steal from everyone. In fact, I might be a Hall of Fame thief because I've stolen from so many guys. It's criminal. But I'm proud of that because I've been around a lot of good coaches, a lot of good mentors. And as a coach, RJ, you're always learning. You're always benefiting from information. You're validating, you're confirming, whether it's something you don't believe in or believe in. You say, I knew that wasn't the way to do it. Now I know. So you're always confirming or validating, good and bad. So there's never a wasted moment in coaching and dealing with other men. There's a lot of ways to do things, a lot of suggestions, a lot of opinions. But at the end of the day, everybody's going the same direction and on the same page. And that's the beauty of coaching and working with so many personalities over the years.
During your time at Pittsburgh, Coach, one of the things that I noticed, because I'm that type, is that you were on the same staff in 2011, 2012, I believe, with Coach Haley, who is the head coach for the Tampa Bay Bandits. Do you think you have a competitive advantage when you all play the Bandits, or that he might have one against you?
Well, I think the competitive balance that we might have, I'm a little bit quicker and a little bit faster than Todd in a 40. So that's the only advantage that we might have. But no, really, Todd is one of the more creative coaches I've ever been around. And I've told a lot of people in our profession, the one thing I've always admired about Todd was that he's not afraid. He's not afraid. He's not conservative. And Todd is not afraid to take a chance and an opportunity on something that he believes in. And that's hard to do as a coach because a lot of coaches will stick close to the vest. They have a comfort zone. They have things that they believe in. They have plays that when it gets hard, they'll hang their hat on. But with Todd, he's not afraid to go the other way with that direction and with that thought. And I've always admired that about him because in the game of football, when it gets hard and it gets tight, it's hard to deviate from things you do well and you believe in. You tend to go back to that, but not Todd. He'll take a chance on something that he thinks is going to be great. And we got to be aware of that when we play them. That's the number one game on our schedule for two reasons. One, because of our relationship previously, and number two, it's the first game of the year. We've got to win that one. That's the most important game of the year. And all of our energies and all of our focus will be on that once we get together in Birmingham.
I believe y'all are going to finish out that first weekend of week 1 of the USFL season at, I believe it's 7 Eastern on FS1. But Coach, one of the things that I was most intrigued with and quite honestly grabs your attention is your Super Bowl ring was on your hand, the one you won with Pittsburgh, but you won 2 of those, one with Tampa Bay and one with Pittsburgh. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Which one is your favorite?
Oh, wow. Well, you did put me on the spot there. And which one is my favorite? They're both awesome, but the very first one, being in my home state of California, that was pretty cool. Being in San Diego in a Super Bowl in your very first opportunity was special because I was close to a lot of family and loved ones. And that opportunity meant more to me personally because of where it was located. But they both were equally sensational. And I was just extremely lucky, fortunate, proud, humbled to be a part of it. So they're right there, 1A and 1B, but the California love was special.
Thank you, Coach. I would have a hard time choosing between my 2 favorite Super Bowls too, if it were me. But again, in all of this, one of the real just legendary qualities of your career is the number of tailbacks that you have touched or been touched by. I will remind the audience that you were the running backs coach at Iowa State when Troy Davis not only rushes for 2,000 yards in consecutive seasons, but is a Heisman finalist at Iowa State, which doesn't have that sort of a reputation. When you are his running backs coach, you've coached guys like Emmitt Smith, Shad Mendenhall, on and on. What did you learn that made you so good at putting tailbacks into the league that were productive? I will reference one more. Josh Jacobs is from my hometown and went to high school just down the road from me. You had him as a Las Vegas Raider. Again, over 37 years, what has allowed you to separate as a running backs coach?
I think you always play to their strengths. All of those men you mentioned have special qualities. They're all unique in vision, instincts, and change of directions. When God makes all of us, he gives us a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And those men had a little bit of everything as football players. They were special. They were unique. They were always the hardest worker. Not many running back coaches in their career get to say they work with 4 Hall of Fame players. And I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to do that with Emmitt Smith, Curtis Martin, Edgerrin James, and eventually be Adrian Peterson. And so I tell people, and I've shared this with you, I am an expert at running back coach, but not by the reasons you might believe. I'm an expert because of what I've learned from those men. And what I learned from those men are the qualities that it takes to be a great player. And that is being selfless, putting the team before you, having a never say die attitude, being invincible, even though you feel like crap, you walk around like you are made of steel and that nothing is wrong with you. I've learned from those men on how to practice. I've learned from those men on how to prepare, how to take care of your bodies. Those men were special, and it's been proven over the years by statistics and what they've been able to do. And so I've learned and I've stolen from those guys, and I've told them, I don't want everything. I just want all you got. And those guys gave it to me every single time.
Now, Coach, look, I was looking at those numbers when we first met, and I believe 3 of the top 10 all-time NFL rushers are guys that ran the ball for you at one point or another in their careers, and that's just remarkable. But one of the other reasons I think you are uniquely positioned to really have a great season in the USFL is you've been around a bunch of head coaches over a long period of time. I got to ask, though, how did you put together your staff, and what qualities were you looking for?
I wanted to have qualities in my staff that resonated with me, that were important to me because it's things that I believe in. Some of these men I've worked with, most of them I have worked with, and the things that I believe in, they believe in. And we've had previous relationships. And that's the key word. It's all about relationships, how to build them, how to sustain it, and how to keep it. And so these men believe in that relationship. They believe in development. I'm a big believer in development of players. They are who they are when you acquire them. It's what they want to be and what you're capable of leading them to, which determine their outcome. If you get a good player who has ability, good learnability, good football character, he will get better really, really fast, as opposed to a guy who maybe doesn't have a good work ethic, maybe doesn't learn it as fast, questionable football character. You know, they all come in different shapes, sizes, and mental makeups. So when you get a guy like that, you've got to find out how they learn. Once you discover how they learn, you spend most of your time there on teaching them how they learn, because that way they get the most information, whether it be audioly, you know, whether it be physically, they need walkthroughs, or maybe they're a visual guy. Maybe they can't just learn it by you getting up and talking about it. So you have to find out how your men learn first, and then deal in that when dealing with them, because everyone's different. And then I think after that, you start determining when to not overcoach. And that's very, very important. When to back up, when not to overcoach. Man, it's not like it's rocket science, guys. Teach them the game plan. You're not teaching quarterbacks how to throw. You're not teaching runners how to run. You're teaching them the game plan. You're teaching technique and fundamentals, because, RJ, fundamentals travel. Think about it. Plays change in the National Football League or any league. Systems change. Coaches change. Names change. Zip codes. All of that change. But the one thing that never, ever changes, that I always preach to players, are fundamentals. They travel from every zip code to every NFL city. Fundamentals travel. So we always put a premium on teaching fundamentals to running backs, or at any position, fullbacks. You have to teach fundamentals because they're different. You can't teach a halfback fullback drills and vice versa, because they do two different things. But I love working with that position. It's dear and close to my heart. I'm looking forward to this football team learning fundamentals, learning the game of football, and being highly, highly successful with that.
I lean on fundamentals as much as anything, more than I probably should, in as far as just grounding myself, helping me understand, hey, I know what I'm doing, and I can understand how that translates in football. I wonder, though, how many of these guys are familiar with you, like a Garrett Groshek, a guy that has played for you, and whether or not you're going to lean on him to more or less not carry your message, but perhaps help the team better understand you.
Well, there'll be a couple of guys like that. I drafted a guy last night, Ethan Westbrook from the Raiders, and he knows me as well. I hired a running back coach, one of my offensive assistants, Will Johnson, who actually played for me in Pittsburgh. And so when you have some familiarity with your assistants, that helps, because it helps with your message, spreading your message in the locker room and out on the field. So anytime you have, that's why coaches tend to lean on previous coaches who've worked with them in the past, because you know each other and there's no surprises. When things get hard, you know the stress factor, how they deal with it. All of those factors are very important. And it's no different with players. When you know a player is not going to make mistakes, because that's the biggest compliment, RJ, a coach can ever give any player, and that is, I trust you. That's the greatest compliment. And I trust Garrett Groshek. I trust him. And he won't make any mistakes. He'll do everything right. Now, is there somebody faster? Sure. Somebody bigger? Absolutely. Okay. But do I trust him like I trust Garrett? Not yet. So it takes. And we're going to build us a team full of guys that we trust, because if we put you out there, there's a high level of trust factor involved.
Hey, man, one of the first rules in football was, hey, we don't want any bust. And a bust can come from effort. A bust can come from not being prepared. A bust can come from you checking out instead of being focused. I'm with you, coach. You need guys that are going to not make mistakes. But you also need dudes that are extremely talented. And when I asked Daryl Johnston about the defensive player that he is most excited to see, the guy that he singled out was Carlo Kemp. And I wonder, what did you see in Carlo Kemp that made you want to make him into a Mauler?
Big time player from a big time program. We were always looking for leaders. When Chris and I talked, we said, let's identify leaders with great football characters who make plays. We thought that was a great combination. Leaders, character, playmakers. We felt we had a chance to win if we did that. And we thought Carlo fit all three of those boxes. He can strike. He's heavy-handed. He's a good tackler. He's got great football demeanor. And we think he plays with aggression. You know, he'll strike first. He's not waiting to be hit before he will retaliate. So he checks all those boxes, and we think he'll be a high-level player for us, whether he's inside with his hand in the dirt or if he's standing up. This is a guy that can play all three downs, and we expect him to compete and bring a lot to the Maulers and lead us to some really, really great and cool things here in April.
One of the things I've been asking coaches as they participate in this series with us is, what can fans of the USFL expect from your offense and your defense in far as philosophy?
Offensively, it's real simple. And you and the media, people will get tired of asking me eventually, because for me, it's real simple. In my lifetime of football, you got to control the line of scrimmage and you got to secure the football offensively. Because if you control the line of scrimmage, guess what? You control the clock. And if you control the clock, you control the game. So that's why you always got to control the line of scrimmage first offensively. And that's going to always be our goal. Our offensive linemen are like gold. And that's why you see me with a heavy lean that way, with size, length, toughness. When people look at our tape, it won't take you long to say, I know the Maulers' identity. I know who they are. It will not take you long when you see us. We want to send a clear and loud message of what we're all about. We're not going to do a lot of talking, but I think people are seeing which way we're going. Talking is good, but playing is a hell of a lot better. And that's what we plan to do, is do a lot of good football playing, and it starts up front, controlling that line of scrimmage and securing the football. Most games are given away. We want to play well. We want to play hard for 4 quarters until our playmakers make their plays, because they always do. Defensively, when people watch us, I want them to say they don't beat themselves. They run to the ball like mad, and they keep the ball in front of them, RJ. You can't let the ball get thrown over your head. So those are my messages to my offense and defense. My special teams, it's real simple. Do your job. And if you do your job and execute at a high level, guess what it eliminates? Surprises. So do your job, which will eliminate the surprises, the deceptions, and then we got to tackle the catch. We got to tackle. Somebody's catching a punt. Somebody's catching a kickoff. We got to tackle the catch. So that's going to be my message to my offense, my defense, and my special teams, and I'm going to preach it every single day, RJ. I got to preach that message, because if I don't, they're going to believe and think that I don't believe it. So I got to preach it. You follow what I'm saying? I have to preach my message. I learned that a long time ago. If you don't preach it, they're going to think you don't believe it. So guess what Coach Wilson will be doing? Preaching a lot of it.
No, look, as a guy that has watched so much college football, me seeing how y'all are putting together your individual rosters has been thrilling. And I've said that the Maulers are going to live up to their reputation because you're big up front. You clearly want to run the football and impose your will and control the clock. And that's what I'm getting from you, Coach. All right. I want to ask you 3 questions that I'm giving all the coaches, not singling you out when I ask these, but to the best of your ability, please answer them. So the first one is, who is the offensive player that you are most, let's say, focused on outside of your own roster? So which of these players did you see get drafted from quarterback all the way through offensively that you're going, okay, I know he can play. We have to prepare for him?
Sharif Miller. He's a dog. And when he got selected last night, I looked down at my 2 deep and I was like, thank God we got these tackles. Because he's a handful and he's going to be a problem for this league.
Okay, Coach, on the other side, right? Tell me another player that you are just looking at perhaps and saying, I don't know what we're going to do here, but we need to figure it out quick, fast, in a hurry.
Dale Warren, the linebacker we chose out of Chattanooga. We went off of our NFL experience, of evaluating players. that we're not sure where Dale's going to play for us. But if you ever make a mistake, we want to make a mistake on a couple of things, whether it be size or speed. And we're not saying that anyone's ever a mistake, because when you draft a guy, you're never drafting saying he's a mistake. But we just felt like this guy was too good to pass up with the speed, the playmaking ability. And I'm excited to see what he does. I think potentially this guy could be special. Just don't know at what position.
I'm excited to see what you figure out there, because I love a tweener. Like I know that they look down upon, but I love a tweener. That means we can find a place to put him. Like I think about Deebo Samuel in the NFL. It's a guy that not a lot of folks were high on at wide receiver. Turns out he can do a lot of different things for the 49ers in San Francisco.
Well, this guy runs so well, RJ. One of my coaches said to me, "Coach, is this James Harrison?" I don't know, but we fixing to find out.
Hey, no, I like that. I like that. Give me that comp all day. It's a terrifying man on the football field.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My last question for you, Coach.
Got it.
Who is the best team in the league not named the Pittsburgh Maulers?
Tampa Bay Bandits.
I see what you're doing. Go ahead. We got a week one. We got a week one.
Come on, RJ. What you think, man?
With that. Well, tell me what you see from their roster, because obviously there is no film, but what you see from their roster and from their head coach that gives you pause, apart from they are your first opponent.
He's going to throw it 80 times. He's not going to run the ball one time. I'm just playing, Todd. Don't you do that.
No, I'm excited about that, Coach. And really, I'm excited that you guys are digging in on these different ways in which we're trying to get involved and really helping us build out more of you, more of the personalities in this league. Pittsburgh Maulers head coach Kirby Wilson, thank you so much for joining us on our Fox Sports 2022 USFL coaching series. Good luck this season, Coach.
Thank you, RJ. Thanks for having me. Go Maulers.
Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.